Welcome to Conversations in Between the Realms, a podcast where the mystical meets the everyday. Join Amanda Nova and Beth Renoff each week as we dive into the profound journey of awakening, sharing our experiences, insights, and the lessons that guide us toward our divine purpose. Together, we awaken and guide our souls and others, exploring the magic of living in the 3D while staying connected to the higher realms, embracing the challenges, and celebrating the growth. You've been guided here for a reason. Trust in the journey and let the unfolding begin.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Conversations in Between the Realms. I'm Amanda Nova, and I am here with Beth Renoff. And I don't even know if I have to ask how you are because the world is ending. Or I think it was supposed to end yesterday. So the first thing that we just started talking about. We're just going to dive right into everything right now because things have been really heavy. The energy has been really crazy. And apparently yesterday the world was supposed to end. It was supposed to be the Rapture, but it was Rosh Hashanah instead. So it wasn't.
Yeah, it was a new year instead. And what I like about Rosh Hashanah is like you're supposed to like look inward and think about all the choices you've made and how you want to like move forward. So maybe it's a rapture in that way. But people were buying I saw one thing where she's like, I'm preparing my house like for when I ascend and the people or whoever comes into my house after the rapture. And it's like, do you truly believe it? Like, I don't know.
I think some people really do. I think people really do.
Well, this girl I know, she posted, she's a music teacher, and she's like, for those experiencing the rapture, if you don't show up tomorrow, it's under 24 hours, so you still have to pay. And I didn't know what she meant. I thought she meant like the band The Rapture was like getting back together. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I guess in LA they're having like a concert. I had no idea like what this thing was until I started seeing videos on people like going into tunnels.
Can you imagine like the real rapture is happening and it's like the end of the world and like you're there in like your band tee, you're like the band is back together.
Band, they're great.
Great. I started seeing stuff yesterday. I actually saw such a funny video of this guy who was like talking about, he's like, yeah, so I got raptured yesterday and I went up and I like met God and God was like, oh man, like, oh, that was today. Like shit, I totally forgot. Like, oh man, I've been paying attention to like other like cooler planets. And he was like, so what's going on with Earth? And the guy was like, well, like, there's murders and all this stuff going on. And he was like, shit, you're not supposed to be doing that. Like, he's like, humans are fucked. It's like, oh, I'm going to send you back now. It was so funny.
She's like, I am actually going to go, but...
And the guy was like, yeah, and the only difference now here in this timeline, now that I've been sent back, is cats don't talk here. It was like so funny. It was like, on my timeline.
Cats don't talk. Oh my God.
Like a lot of people were thinking that the world was supposed to end. I guess there was some prophecy that the world was ending. Spoiler alert, it didn't. We're still here. Like, we're here. We're here. I mean, I totally could understand why maybe a rapture should have happened. I mean, evidence to support a rapture, I think, like, is clear. Like, maybe it should have occurred. But yeah, a lot of people have been talking about that, really believing that. I don't know. It came from some religious prophecy, I think. I don't even know.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I don't really know what the rapture actually is. Is it the Messiah coming?
No, I don't know either. I was hoping you would know. I think it's just everybody gets sucked up into heaven. That's what I was thinking.
Oh, I thought it's like the Messiah comes and then like, I don't know.
I guess it's like the same thing as the apocalypse, right?
Is it? Okay. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
I don't really know what that is either.
I don't know. That's what I was thinking. Right? Yeah, that's kind of how I'm looking at it. Like end of times, I'm guessing that it's just like everybody, well, because people are buying stuff and thinking that other people are going to come, I'm guessing that what they're assuming is that like all humans are going to be like sucked up into like ascend into wherever they believe that humans go, which I'm guessing, and I'm making an assumption here, and our listeners, if you know about the rapture, you could tell us more, but like I'm guessing that these like people who believe this, like super duper religious individuals, I'm assuming they guess they're going to like heaven to meet God, like ascending to heaven.
I guess
but
so.
Rapture doesn't sound good unless it's like, I don't know, a spicy rapture. Like, I don't know. Do you want to be raptured? Maybe.
I mean, maybe right now I do, but no, I mean, I think it's a Christian thing, right? Or Catholic, I don't know.
Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, we survived, everyone. We're here. We also are through one of the most intense eclipse seasons that I've experienced thus late. I don't know.
I saw something that I meant to tell you is like, I think October 9th, or I don't remember. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the 9th, like that week, is when it officially ends. So if you're still feeling things, that's why.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also think, I kind of thought about this a little bit yesterday. Like, we just came out of it, right? So the solar eclipse was on Sunday, the 21st. Then we went right into this equinox on, the autumn equinox, which was on Monday, the 22nd. So you go right from that into the equinox, which is sun, right? So you're having these like two major polarities, right? Like it's like this kind of eclipse, right? Which is like some darkness. Then you have the equinox, which is the sun, right? So we're like really in this like time of dark and light, like really intense opposites. And I feel like that's really fascinating. And we're also in an integration period of everything that has come up from the eclipse. So I think all of us who felt things during the eclipse, all of us who are really sensitive, we're also dealing with all the stuff that came up in the past few weeks.
Yeah.
Too.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think we thought it was going to be lighter, but it felt really heavy.
I was hoping it would be more positive, but I guess we've talked about this a few times, and, there's really no good and bad when it comes to these types of things. And I was just hoping for better stuff. But I think if we kind of look at it through a lens of, when these old things come to the surface to be cleared, they're making room, like we talked about in our last podcast, of making space for new things to come in, that it is a positive thing. But yeah, I didn't think it was going to be this bad. I don't know why I didn't think it was going to be this bad, but it was really bad.
Yeah. I mean, it was really emotional. And also just like, because you said like the dark and the light and the juxtaposition, you literally, from my perspective, look like you're in the dark and I look like I'm in the brightest room ever.
It's about to storm. The skies are about to open up, and my screen is so dark, and yours is so bright. I know, we're literally doing the dark and the light. And so, something interesting that I wanted to talk about today and kind of bring up and see, kind of where we go from here. But we have been noticing a lot of emotions coming up, a lot of old things coming up during the eclipse, a lot of emotional stuff, and this kind of polarity, right, of the dark and the light as we're sitting here in the dark and the light. And something really, really interesting that I saw this morning that really like cracked my brain in like this new funky way. It was a video of Bashar, and somebody stepped up and they asked the question, and they said, on this journey that I'm on, I feel like there's so many extremes. And he was like, what do you mean extremes? And she was like, some days I feel like I'm high, so much energy, feeling so much bliss, so much excitement. And other days I feel so much fear, low, like I just feel so down, so depressed. And that really resonated with me. And so Bashar was like, how exciting. She was like, I'm barely functioning. Like, what do you mean? And he was like, wow, you're feeling these polarities. And what he went on to say that I found so interesting was, as you are leveling up, opening up, as you are on this journey of ascending, and in the way that we say ascending, not ascending into heaven to meet God and all of the apostles, right? Like just like a different type of ascension, as we are leveling up our soul, as we are getting to know our soul more, as we are shedding these layers, we are opening ourselves up to feeling all of the depths of the emotions, all of it, every single corner, all of the different levels of the emotions, of the energies of it. So it feels so much worse, so much more intense for those of us who are on this journey, that it can feel a little manic, a little psychotic. It feels like, I feel like this isn't working. I feel like, oh my God, why do I have these low, low lows, these high, high highs? It feels like I'm losing my mind. But really, we are actually doing exactly what we're meant to do, which is opening up. And he said the reason for that is, and this is like very Beth coded, I'm going to speak in Gen Z, this is very Beth coded, to feel all of the ranges and all of the levels and all of these emotions and energies so that we can choose the ones that we want to stay in, the ones that we want to be in, the ones that we want to feel. So we have a choice. So yes, we feel all those things so that we can learn, this is what the depths of this feels like. And this is what the height of this feels like, so that we can learn that there is a balance and that we can choose which one we want to stay in and live in day to day. And that was so powerful to me, like really like hit me in the face, like impactful.
Yeah. No, and I think, we are programmed to believe we're only allowed to feel the good, but we're actually wired to feel the bad. So you have to be intentional about the good. And I think people numb their emotions in so many ways, through food, through drugs, through binge watching TV, through working, even if you're like a workaholic. And it's all to avoid. And sometimes I think for people who don't allow themselves, it might feel the really high peaks and the low valleys, because it's stretching your tolerance for both, of saying, okay, like, you don't only have to feel the good. Like, that doesn't mean your life is great if you only feel the good. No, you're supposed to experience the full range of emotions. But I would also add is, you can also feel polar opposite emotions at once. And that, I think, is really why the high peaks and valleys is, because you can have both. It's like it is a weird feeling, and I think that's why people get really dysregulated. Is like, wait, I can understand and be grateful for the things in my life, but I feel like shit right now, and I'm feeling really low. And that is the process of regulation. Actually, it's like you're at this. Let's say you're like the process of change, or in pre-contemplation, contemplation, action, so it's kind of like that, is like when you're thinking about and you're in this place where you don't allow yourself to feel, then in the contemplation phase, it's like opening you up. So maybe you have an experience where you feel negative, and then the action is like, you're gonna feel really high this day, really low the next day, and then we're going to integrate. And sometimes you're going to feel really high, or maybe a high and a low at the same time. And you have to figure out how to regulate your nervous system so that you can hold both. And everybody can. It's just learning. And I think that's the point of highs and lows. So I feel like you're at the place right before you can feel both at once.
Right, right. And I think that this is the point where a lot of people start to doubt the journey, doubt themselves. And it's the part where people self-sabotage, because feeling those low lows, a lot of people, and I will throw myself into this ring, because this was hugely mind open. This was like a really big, like, aha for me, was like, because when you're feeling in the low, you go, this isn't working. What I'm doing isn't working. This isn't working. I must not be on the right path. I have to either change something, or I feel really deeply dark, or I'm feeling too much. I have to numb it, to your point. And then you self-sabotage, whether it's binge eating, whether it's drinking, whether it's watching TV, whatever your vice is. We all have our things, okay? We self-sabotage, or we're working towards the dream, the soul path. A lot of us entrepreneurs, like, right? Like, we self-sabotage our relationships. How many times do we feel all the things with our significant others and then pick a fight how many times do we feel really, really great in a relationship and have a great day with our significant other, and then because we feel so much, we pick a fight? Do you ever notice that when you feel so much and then you pick a fight? It's like when we're holding so much sometimes, like it's like too much, we self-sabotage. So that is the point where a lot of us can't go beyond. And to your point, it is the regulation. And how do we get ourselves to go beyond that point? Because it's where a lot of people turn back, and it's where a lot of people self-sabotage and turn around. It's really interesting.
Well, I think I said this to you. Yeah, it is. And I think I said this to you yesterday. It's like asking yourself, are you sure this is the path you want? Listen, any path you take is going to have highs and lows. It's just like when you're close to something, you're feeling the low and the negative to see if you can tolerate it. Like, because not everything is smooth sailing. Things are hard. And I think it's that we have this idea of what hard looks like. And the universe is here to show you, like, it's not in the way you think, because if you looked at your life, like, it's not like anything looks horrible, right? But you're feeling so deeply because you're entering a phase. It's like the things that are unseen can be the hardest, right?
Right.
And I think that's where we are. And it's almost like what I kind of see is it's coming out of the shadows, but it's still not visible. So it's almost like a manifestation that you feel coming, but isn't quite manifested or actualized. And so it's like you can see it because you can feel it, but not everybody can see it yet. So that's the place where it's really uncomfortable. Maybe is the polar opposites. It's like, it's something good, but it's not actualized yet. So you feel this like frustration. I think that's the biggest thing, this discomfort, this frustration, this impatience. And that's really hard to tolerate when nothing necessarily looks bad, right? But you feel bad. It's almost like the polar opposites of inside versus outside. Like outside might look good, but inside feels horrible. But in the manifestation, it's really good, but you don't think it looks good.
Right.
So it's kind of a mind fuck, like, for lack of a better word.
Yeah. And it's fascinating, the thought of like, okay, so like you're calling in something. And so whether that is, right, love, like let's think of the main things that we call in, right? Like the big things. We call in money. We call in our soul purpose career, right? Like passion-led careers. We call in love relationships, right? The safety, and all of those are like, deeper needs, right? Safety, freedom, right? Like they're safe. Those are deeper things. We call in those things, right? So we're calling in those things. And let's just say it's a relationship. Okay. So then as we're calling that in and as it's coming closer and closer, the universe is opening us up to be able to hold this larger thing that's coming in, right? So as we're opening up and our field is opening, we're becoming more sensitive to then feel the high highs and the low lows. And so we don't realize, because it's hidden, that we're getting closer. So all we feel is the low lows and the high highs and the all over the place. And we're like, and you're this close, and you don't know that behind the way that Josh June sometimes will show it to me, or he's shown it, like people will come see me and he'll say, like, you're literally, there's a curtain right here and you can sneeze, and the curtain, like what you want is right behind the curtain, and you're standing on the other side and you can sneeze and it would like open, but you don't know that, right? So it's right there. And you're just like there, and you're just like, well, I must be feeling this low because I'm not calling in the right thing. And then you start to question, but really you're feeling those things because it's right there. And the universe is saying, I have to stretch you a bit because this is bigger than anything that you've been able to hold before.
Right.
So this is like a bigger thing. This is more love. This is a relationship that's going to require you to be bigger, right? Like to be able to hold more, or to hold more money, to hold more stuff. And so all you feel is the high highs and the low lows. And it was just such an aha to me to be able to think about, like, we're standing there, and then instead we're like, nope, got to turn around. I'm going to self-sabotage. I'm going to like do something crazy, but it's right there. So I just feel like that's what's coming through so strong right now for me this week, of like, if you are right now, like coming off of the eclipse and you're feeling those like all that emotion and like all these things are coming up and you're thinking like, oh my God, like these past stuff is coming up and it must be because like I am not in the right place or like it's actually because you're really close. It's actually because you're really close.
Yeah.
It's not, it's right there. And it's like just holding on. It's like that whole thing of like, don't give up before the miracle comes. It's like it's right there. But it feels so terrible. It's so uncomfortable to stretch.
Right. Yes. And like the entire time I was thinking about people who put like additions on their house, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you have this beautiful idea, you have the rendering, you're picking out like all the stuff you like, you're making it really yours. It's like this dream, right? And people make their dream house. But in practice, it feels horrible. You're living in the construction, there's dust everywhere, it gets delayed. Because they always tell you it's going to be faster than it actually is. It winds up costing so much money. You question if you should have just moved instead of doing the addition, but you're making space. It's not going to be a smooth process,
Yeah.
And then at the end, you have your dream house. And after you're in it, you're comfortable. You don't think about the pain necessarily, but it widens your window of tolerance. You learn that not everything is smooth sailing. We have to make room for the good and the bad. But you will still get to the place that you want. This is just the process.
Yeah. It's just it's just so interesting to me, and it's blown my mind wide open because I'm right there right now. I know you're right there right now, and I know so many people are, and I think and that's really what I'm feeling about this time. And our podcast is called In Between the Realms, and we are in an in between period right now. Like this is really the in between, like when you are in this space of the, everything just cleared, everything just, came out. And now you're feeling those like, everything like, right. Like, I mean, we're talking about like whack-a-mole of crazy stuff, right? Like, I mean, how many old things came out? Like old patterns.
Oh my God. Like people I've talked about on this podcast have come out of the woodwork, like making up lies just to get my attention, really crazy lies, emotions coming up. I've had so many flashbacks to random moments I forgot in my life that were really pivotal.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because I didn't understand why, like I was just having these really like aha moments and just like thinking about things I had buried for so long. Like it's coming up also because I'm taking whatever that moment did, and I either need to just take the lesson from it and move on, or just get rid of whatever the feeling, like just I've outgrown it, and I feel like that's been a lot for me, is not so much like events. Like I know so many people who've lost their jobs in the past few weeks, which is horrible. And I hope that it's getting them on a better path. But you've just seen stuff like that. Like it's not just like one way. It's been like an explosion of little things.
It's an explosion of I mean, even in the media, in, just in the just cultural space, like, I mean, just everything is coming to the surface. And I think that is so, so purposeful. And it's very much things that are not working can no longer be a part of where we're going. Like this is very much a clearing out. It is a revisiting, but it's also we're kind of being tested, I think, for sure. I've had so many people say like what you were just saying about like those things coming up of like, do you really want this? Like, people who are like working for themselves and they're getting like jobs coming up and stuff like that. And they're like, well, do you really want to work for yourself, or do you want to do for that? Like that kind of stuff happening, like a lot of old patterns, a lot of old things. All the skeletons like have been dancing out of the closet. Like it's so great that October is on because the skeletons are out. Yeah. Okay. They are out. They are discoing. They are out. No secrets. Like nothing is buried. Like it is all coming, but it feels very purposeful. And I think a lot of it to me feels like we just cannot continue the way that we've been going. Like it cannot go on the way. And the job stuff is so interesting. I mean, you and I jumped ship from the corporate world a long time ago. I think a lot of other people now are like I mean, I just think the way that corporations and the way the world is being run is just not, it's not able to, that is the masculine feminine polarity playing out on the world stage.
Wow, that's so funny because I just saw a report that said this is the highest point I think ever of people working for themselves. And because I mean, I jumped ship last life, my past life for corporations. I've never worked for one, which is really interesting. I've always either worked for a startup. I've worked for a school, but that's not like a corporation, I mean, that was definitely more bureaucratic, and then I just worked for like small private practice, and then I started my own. I just like knew always, I'm like, I am not meant to work for other people. It just doesn't work. Like I felt really like smothered and like someone was choking me when I had to do things how other people wanted me to do things on other people's time. I'm like, why can't I leave when I'm done?
Like,
and I was just like, then give me more work. Like, why am I sitting here? I don't understand. My time is valuable, and I'm just like, this isn't gonna work. This isn't I was 20 and I'm like, no, not doing this.
I think so many people are really just, I mean, waking up. I think people are just waking up. So many people are working for themselves. And I think people just want to be happy. And I think they're just there. And I think that is really, again, like it's that polarity. Like I think people want the balance. They want the harmony. They want the work-life balance. I don't think that people want to spend their life behind a desk making other people money. Like, I just don't think people want to live like this anymore. And we're just at the end of our rope. And now we're in this like phase that I'm not going to like go into a whole thing on this, but like with the censorship and people can't say, I mean, it's just, things are really out of control. I mean, right? I mean, you can't even speak anymore. I mean, you can't even, I mean, we are in a time where people have the ability to have the most flexibility in speaking, but now you can't say anything because you might potentially get canceled at anything that you say. I mean, this is like,
or killed. let alone government. It's not even political. It's just like people do not have and this is capacity, right? People have learned to not have the capacity to disagree with other people because it makes them feel uncomfortable. And we've also ushered in a culture that's like, we can't handle discomfort. And I think that's also why we have the peaks and valleys, because this is the universe stepping in, because as people and like on earth, we've taught the wrong lesson. Like you need to be able to withstand disagreement. You need to be able to hold opposing views and say that person's not a bad person. They think different than me. Maybe some people are bad people, but it's not because they necessarily hold a different view unless they want to take people's lives away, but that I think is such a direct, consequence of having such little capacity to hold discomfort and feel the range of emotions. If people could sit with anger versus needing to discharge because they have no outlets and coping skills, our country would be a lot better.
Yeah.
And I totally agree. People will get canceled. But to be honest, that's been happening in the past 10 years. People lost their jobs because they said something. That's the point of free speech, is you should be able to say whatever you want. And if it hurts your feelings, you have every right to say something back,
Right.
But we have to be respectful towards each other. We're not saying you have to agree. You have to just be able to tolerate the discomfort when someone does disagree with you.
Right.
And you're allowed to feel anger, but that does not give you the right to take someone's life away, to ruin someone's life,
Right. It's really just a bunch of dysregulated people on this planet who don't know how to handle any of it. And, I mean, it's just out of control. And I think that, like, again, it's like those of us who are here to try to raise that vibration, to try to shift these things, it's like opening more and more and opening more and more. And then we're feeling more and more. And it's just a lot. And so, like, I just think it's so, I mean, like, I said to you yesterday, because I was so so emotional yesterday. I mean, I was like, I was trying to hold it up. Like I had told you, I was like trying to hold it. And then like the dam like broke. But I like said to you, I was like, are we losing the war? Like on, like, and not like, that is not war in like, I was like, are we losing the light versus dark war?
Yeah.
Like I was like, that's how down in the dark depths I was yesterday. Cause I was just like, I just don't like know anymore. Like, and because the more that you open to feeling it and the more that you're helping people, the more that you're feeling all of that stuff, like I was saying. And so it's so like, just, mind shattering to me to just understand that, like, we're meant to feel all of those things in order to help people. But then again, it comes back to those of us in this work and everyone that's listening who is a highly sensitive person. Because if you're listening to this, you're a highly sensitive being. You're doing things that you don't want to help other people. And so like, you're feeling all those things. And then there are days where you're going to want to throw your hands up because it feels like too much. But the point is that it's too much so that you can then help other people. And it just is, it's a lot. I don't know.
It's too much to also show you that you can handle it. You
Yeah.
know, we are actually miraculous beings. Like, think about how we heal, think about how we are so resilient,
Mm-hmm.
And, I think you said it, and or my wife said it. She's just like, I don't get how, because she has been having quite the time. I've known her for 11 years. I've never seen her cry until the past few weeks,
Yeah.
and like the past year actually. But the past few weeks have been particularly brutal with her work and just like her feelings of these really low lows. And she's like, I just don't understand how you're so like regulated, And I'm like, I don't know. But like now that you're talking, it makes a lot of sense. And I think if you know anything about Jewish history, it's been like one dark period after another. And I think it's ingrained in Jews of like, you have to see the light. Like, you don't have a choice. And hope is literally a lot of what our entire history is about, a lot of our faith is about, and as a people, because no matter where we were on earth, it would happen, so it's like ingrained. It's definitely ingrained in my ancestral line. It's ingrained as part of this tribe of people. And I think that's why we know it's just like, yeah, it gets really freaking dark. But if you have no hope and you aren't that light, there will be no light,
Right.
So I think that's why it's just like it's kind of ingrained in me,
Yeah.
and we've both personally been through really dark times in our life. And I'd argue this is probably the best place we've ever been, but it doesn't feel that way, like, but if you look,
Yeah.
and this is again from the outside, if you look
Mm-hmm.
outward in, I think you could look at both of us and be like, your lives are exponentially better right now.
Right.
It's just difficult because we can only depend on ourselves because we work for ourselves.
Right.
And that's really hard. I think this is the hardest we've ever worked on ourselves and on a business, and trying to really bring a creation into existence.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it feels hard. Again, it's in the place where we can't see yet,
Right.
but outwardly, and just like where we are, like, we've gotten the houses we want. We started a business we want. We have this podcast that like brings joy, and our entire idea is to like help people see the light. We are doing it. That's pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
So it's like I really feel like gratitude is the thing that helps to regulate, and I never understood gratitude before until I really started being truly grateful for things. And I see it does something chemically in the brain. I think it
Mm-hmm.
targets the reward center. And that's what helps you, like in dark times, when you're in that low valley, you need to look around and be like, what am I actually grateful for? Like,
Yeah.
how can I zoom out and see the bigger picture? Because when you're in a low, you're pretty much in a depressive state, and you have tunnel vision, and it's really narrow. You
Mm-hmm.
have to like learn to zoom out and be like, okay, in the grand scheme of things, is there anything I can be grateful for? Is
Right.
there anything that is actually going right? Because it's so easy to see what's going wrong, but where is it actually going right? And I'd argue people are waking up. People are starting to speak out about the things that they're unhappy about. People are taking steps to take care of themselves, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're in a dark valley, like, you're going to need to pick yourself up. No one's going to do that for you.
Yeah.
So I think you are gaining something incredible. You just can't see it yet.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I fully agree. And I think again, it's also flipping the perspective. Like, I think looking at that feeling again of like feeling that yes, you're feeling sad or you're feeling hurt or you're feeling the pain of the world, but it's also that you're feeling more because you're opening more, right? And so you're feeling more things. And I think that that's why this feels heavier now. Like, this time feels heavier because I think, the more that you open yourself up again, like, I think the more that you feel, and I think it feels heavier than maybe it would have felt 5 years ago when, I would say, like, for me, like, well, 5 years ago was like 2020. Okay. Let's say like 8 years ago when I still like drank. Okay. I mean, yeah, like, like I had numbing stuff, like I feel like there was like other things. Now it's like I just, I feel like I feel so much because I'm so open and just like this more like, highly sensitively tuned energetic being. And so I feel it all. But then, like, if I can now switch that perspective of like, that's like what's happening, I feel like that changes it for me instead of just like, oh, like, just things are shitty and it's like dark and like, that means that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing or that I'm not actually evolving. No, that actually means you're super evolved. And I kind of like want that message too to like resonate with the people listening, is like, if you are feeling like really like sad right now and you're feeling in that dark place, and like, I just don't want you to give up on yourself, give up on the work. Like, it doesn't mean that like this isn't working. It's not.
But I do want to say, if you are feeling something, it might also be that something's not working, and you might need to make a change, right? So sometimes that dark feeling is because you're ignoring something. So, but if it is on this path where you've been working towards something, continue. But if you haven't, conversely, but you're feeling this really low, like, ask yourself, what small thing could change? Or if I could envision myself happy, like, what would the change be? Because sometimes it like knocks on your door and you ignore. And then you just feel anxiety or depression because it's like something has to change.
Yeah. That's
So
true.
it depends on your circumstance. But I also want to say about the numbing, I rather feel everything, including the lows, than feel nothing, because you don't only numb out the bad, you numb out the good, when you numb. So it's not like you're just present for the good stuff and the alcohol or the food or the watching or like shopping is going to just tune out the bad. You tune out everything. And so I think, if anything, the depth that you can feel shows how human you are, shows how attuned you are, and it shows that things are shifting inside, and you're evolving. Maybe it's also growing pains again.
Yeah, that's also true too. Yeah. Again, like, yeah, that stretching, that expanding. Yeah. It's all there. But honestly, like, I think there's more support on this path than there was 5 years ago, 8 years ago, all of that. And, and that's why we're here. That's why we're in it together and we're sharing this journey and we're letting you into our inner workings so that that you're not in it alone. And, we have those resources. So I think also, like, at the end of the day, just know that you aren't doing this by yourself. And that's why we're here. So, as we always say, come see us, come see both of us, come see one of us. If you need additional resources, my membership portal is there to do weekly activations, weekly check-ins, and updates on the energy. And I think, Beth, especially you for this kind of stuff, if you are feeling really dark and you're feeling in a low spot, like, Beth, like, pulls me out of the depths regularly. So she's really the person to go to for that. And then my membership portal for like tune-ups and like the weekly check-ins, and Beth for like really like integrating that.
But you know what? Yours is so good. I don't think it's either or.
I think it's both. I think you need both. We need both of our resources.
No, because, first of all, we do different things, even if you were going to us one-on-one. But I think for you, like, people need tools to do on their own. And I think that's why your stuff is so important. You can't, like, yes, I will help you get out of a dark spot. I can really help guide you so you're not alone, but I'm not with you every day. Your stuff is something they can do on their own every single day. It's not time intensive. It's not even expensive. It is an investment in yourself. So I would really highly recommend anybody listening, join the portal, see if you like it. It's not a life commitment, and you will have tools set up for you to regulate. And that, I think the message from this is regulate and you avoid the rapture.
I love that. Okay, guys, we'll see you next time. We'll be back on a regular schedule for weekly calls, post eclipse, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. Have a good one.